Do you not wish to live in beauty?
Master Cirdan, I cannot trust these rings. What is beauty when it is born in part of evil?
No less beautiful.
Not to me.
Would you cast Rumil's verses into the flame because the poet was a drunkard?
Rumil was a drunkard.
Do not ask of Daeron. Oh, insufferable. But a voice that could make the very sun weep tears of fire. Judge the work, and leave judgment concerning those who wrought it to the judge who sees all things.
That feels impossible.
It is called humility, and it is difficult for most, but it is the truest form of sight.
I wish I could know your peace.
You can.
Okay, so he said peace, he said beauty, he said judging the work, not judging the person. Okay, so I will come back to those very quickly. But today I decided to present something on Salah. So those who have been following, they might be familiar with the fact that it looks like it doesn't look like. I have gone deeply into Salah now for the first, I tried to go through several components earlier this year, and you'll find several of those components not only linked in this document, but you'll find them in Patreon, you'll find them in the community posts, you'll find them in videos on the channel from around Aprilish, I think. But yeah, I'll come to each of those. So I have tried to look at several components connected to Salah, and I'm glad I did, because it still remains the case. What I did dig into still remains the case. So it's not I can now understand why there is this conflict between those who keep the traditional Salah as well as those who are looking at the Quran and they think this is ridiculous, that can't be Salah. I get it. I completely get it. So I'm glad that I'm glad that I looked at each several component. So now I can clearly look at the bigger picture as well, the context of everything and how everything is uniformly mentioned with Salah. So, okay, so I'll get to each of these bits when the time is right. So bear with me, because it is a very big, complex project. But I'm trying to make it simple and clear. But today, I decided, even though it's not ready, I decided today to present something because I recited these surahs this morning, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. So I recite, and 74, a very important one. Yeah, the big one. Actually, from the thumbnail that you guys will be looking at. I do not mean to trigger anyone with that. I come in peace. I come to bring beauty. And I come to bring something beneficial, inshallah. So, yeah. Having said that, okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so before I go to that, so he mentioned peace, and that is what is in the Quran. Again, I have to think about a lot of new people listening as well. I can't just cater to those who are, like myself, following Islam, if you like, or the traditional Islam for a very, very long time. since birth, basically. So I do have to think about newcomers. And I just want to remind them that the message in the Quran is one of peace. It might not be like a Buddhist type peace. It might not be, I don't know, some kind of new age spirituality peace. It is a realistic peace. Yeah, surrendering to peace, surrendering to what brings peace, submitting to what brings peace. So that is the main message in the Quran. So when he said, I wish I could know your peace, that is what is in the Quran. Submitting, surrendering to peace. So having said that, he also mentioned beauty. So I just want to bring up this as well. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا بني آدم يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم. So, oh, children of Adam, take your beauty. Essentially, that's what zinat is. Take your beauty, or take your adornment. Take your decoration. Take your beauty at every masjid. At every masjid. It's not mosque. So masjid is a place of sujood. Again, I'll come to each of these when appropriate. So yeah, just thought I'd bring this up. Take your beauty at every place of sujood. So again, these terms are in the Quran. The Quran is a thing of beauty and is a thing of peace. So I just wanted to bring up that to begin with. Okay, so just a quick reminder, because I was wondering how I'm going to do this. So just in case people aren't familiar. So I have been looking into Salah. And yeah, I think it's almost like I don't know, it's coming up to 2 weeks. Continuously, daily, looking into this, but I might need to take a break. So I'm going to give what I've got so far. For those who haven't looked at the community post, yeah, the reason why I'm confident and convinced that I can do this now is because I'm absolutely certain that the opposite of Salah is turning away. So Salah is you going towards Allah. Salah is you turning towards Allah. Salah is you making a union. So I'll come to each of these, why I say this. But this is clearly, this is clearly the opposite. The opposite of being valid, affirming the truth, is lying, denying the truth. The opposite of saddaqa is kadhaba. So the opposite of salla is tawalla. Again, I'll come to each of these when the time is right. So yeah, so he was not valid, affirming the truth, and not he made salla, not he made union, but he lied. Walakin kadhaba. So the opposite. He did the opposite. The opposite of affirming the truth, he denied the truth, he lied. And the opposite of turning towards Allah, making a union with Allah, he turned away. So this is in the community post as well as in Patreon. So the opposite of Salah is turning away. The opposite of Salat is turning away from one's union, a joining relationship with Allah. This union with Allah is kept by turning towards and being sincerely dutiful to His guidance. I'm picking these words very carefully. Sincere, being sincere. This is Ṣalāt al-Mustaqim. Being dutiful. So this is a part of al-bir. This is what al-bir is, being just and dutiful, which is intricately connected to Salah. And taqwa, al-bir is connected to al-taqwa. You see how these concepts are intricately connected, like Salah is connected to DEEN. So I'm being very careful with my words, sincerely dutiful to His guidance, just as the opposite of validating, affirming truth is to lie or deny the truth. And yeah, it all began with when I did this video. So I was convinced that the way Allah is speaking of life and death, opposites but connected. And I thought, whatever this is, Salat, this nusuki, could be the opposite. It could be. So that's where it actually began, and I was convinced. So I will be coming back to this, and actually who I need to thank for this. It was a conversation with Dr. Omar Zaid, with brother Leslie Terabashi, but I will come to this, inshallah. Okay, so just very quickly, some of the things that I have mentioned on Patreon as well. Okay, so it can be very hard to let go of things after decades of 5 times per day actions. Okay, it can be very hard to let go of things after decades of 5 times per day actions that are not in the Quran. This is actually why PSD, post-Sunni disorder, exists. It's not easy and takes time of diligent study, repetition, reminders, and replacement with the duties that are in the Quran currently being overlooked. So I've studied Surah Al-Baqarah whole. I've gone through the whole thing with the focus on Salah, and then I've gone through the back part of the Quran, which I'm going to start on today. This is the reason why I'm doing this. From Surah 69. If you look at all of the mentions of Salah from Surah 69 onwards to the end, and you look at Surah Baqarah. So this is the question. In 286 verses, do you get the indication of this traditional 5 times daily Salah? No. Or even 3 times, whatever times, but any form of this traditional Salah? No. Do you get any indication from the back part of the Quran, from Surah 69? So this is what I've done, and I'm not finished yet. I'm going to go through all of the middle section as well, but I'm already convinced through several methods that Salat is some kind of union, some kind of joining. And this is why I'm going through this today, because that's what it is. If you look at what was mentioned, what I recited in Surah 69, verse 31, ثُمَّ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. And by the way, you seek refuge in Allah from shaitan, from Satan, when reading the Quran. Okay, so then scorch him in the blaze. Yeah, never sat right. But the thing is, you've got Swad, Lam, Wow, which is connected to Salah. All of these roots, they're people's best efforts in categorizing things. Some things aren't quite accurate. Some things that are disconnected should be connected. Some things that are connected should be disconnected. But they're tools for us to be able to further our accurate understanding of the Quran. So ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. So some people might even say, yes, the people of hellfire are going to be doing Salah. Well, not exactly wrong, but I'm going to come to this. So as you can see here, 69:31. Then the hell unite him in it. Yeah, that's what that is actually. Then the hell, Al-Jahim. This is one of the names of hell. Is it one of the names of 7 hells? Is it just another name for hell? It could be, I don't know. I'm just focused on Salah. But Al-Jahim is a name of hell, just like Saqar is. Saqar. So I'm going to come to that there. Again, I'll try to be clear and keep this slow so this is understandable, because I might get carried away. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surahs I recited. Several mentions of Salah and things that I've already become clear about what Salah actually is in the Quran. Okay, so yep, in the back part of the Quran. So that was Surah 69 about, then the hell, Al-Jahim. That's basically, Salluhu is join, unite him. So you might be able to understand why I'm saying that Salah is a union. It's a union, it's a joining. You should be able to see, once I've presented enough, that every mention of this word Salah, you can easily just use the word union or joining towards, and it works. I mean, that could change. Instead of union, obviously depending on the grammar, you might say unite or united or made union or made a joining or join, But essentially, you'll find that this word unite, union or join works. Almost in every, well, not almost, I think in every single case. So before I take a journey through the back part of the Quran today, that's what I want to look at today, going through the back part of the Quran from 69 all the way to the end, Surah 69 all the way to the end. Let me just read out some of the things that I have posted on Patreon in the discussion points. Okay, so as I said, it can be very hard to let go of things after decades of 5 times per day actions that are not in the Quran. This is no joke. I've suffered from OCD my entire life. I'm just going to say it outright. I've suffered from it my entire life. And I know I'm not the only one. I know very well that I'm not the only one. I know this is a very common thing. And this is why I actually even dug into the whole demonology and understanding Jerry Marzinski's work and recognizing that this is being played, you're being played with by the shayateen. That's what OCD essentially is. But having said that, there are certain things that are drilled in or programmed in that are very hard to let go of. Some things are beneficial, some things actually help you get work done. But in this case, I'm bringing this up because it's a very hard thing to let go of. If you've been doing it 5 times a day, times 365 days, times however many years you've been alive, just think about that. And then someone asks you to let go of that. I think it's worse than asking someone to quit smoking, or worse than asking someone to, I don't know, you can think of your own examples. So it can be a very hard thing to let go of after decades of 5 times per day actions that are not in the Quran. This is actually why PSD, post-Sunni disorder, exists. It's not easy, and it takes time of diligent study, repetition, reminders, and replacement. That's the main thing. You've got to replace it, or you've got to add to it. You've got to give people what is it exactly. It's not enough to just say what I'm about to read out here. That's very important, but you still have to replace this thing or improve this thing that people already have. And that's what many of us have been doing. We've been improving our salah, getting rid of the dodgy stuff, not facing that dodgy place anymore, not reciting these things that are very dodgy. Over time it improves. You let go of things, and yeah, I think now is the time to improve to another level, inshallah. So before I go into this back part of the Quran, the list of duties alone is enough to make non-believers into believers. Al-Musalleen in Al-Ma'arij. These are all parts in the document, so you will have this as well. So yeah, just very quickly, those who are constant in their union with Allah. Yeah, this is how Allah describes the Al-Musalleen. Those who are constant in their union, not constant in this 5 times prayer. Yeah, have to be honest. Not constant in this 5 times prayer. Those who are constant in their union or their relationship with Allah. Those in their wealth is a known right for the beggar and the deprived. Those who affirm the day of debt repayment, the day of DEEN, Yawmuddin. Those who affirm this judgment day is coming, essentially. Those who have an aversion to the punishment of their Lord, and know they are not secure from the punishment of their Lord yet. Those who guard their private parts. This is very similar mention. Guarding your private parts, guarding your salah. It's mentioned in the same kind of way. Preserving it, guarding your connection, your union. Those who guard their private parts except from their rightful partners. Those who are shepherds over their trusts and promises. Those who are upstanding in their testimonies. Those whom God, their salatim, their union, relationship. These are the ones in dignified vineyard havens of paradise. Can't remember exactly what the Arabic is. I'll be coming back to that. And then, so that's in Surah 70. So I said we're beginning with this, where apparently they'll be doing salah in hell. Or, even worse translation, then scorch him in the blaze. Do you think Allah said that? We'll come to that. Then scorch him in the blaze. Do you think Allah says, fear me? Do you think Allah says, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna scorch him, I'm gonna burn him? I'm not sure about every single verse in the Quran, but it's interesting to find how much is actually not here. Okay. Those who are shepherds over their trust and promises, those who are upstanding in their testimonies, those whom guard their salatihim. So again, several mentions of this salat. Those whom guard their union, their relationship. Again. Okay, so then Surah 74. Al-Musalleen in Al-Muddathir. So that's where Saqar is mentioned. I will be coming to that. Those who feed the poor. Those who avoid wading mindlessly with the waders, the mindless. I'll come to each of these with the Arabic. Those who affirm, again, you're going to see what is repeated, and what is repeated, you can tell what is the most important. So if you look at that there, affirming the day of judgment, that's the most important. That's a Musalleen. those who are giving part of their wealth to a beggar and deprived, those who feed the poor, day of DEEN again, orphans, feeding the poor. You start to get an idea that this is who the Musalleen are, not those who pray their 5 times Salah. This is who the people who keep the union, their connection with Allah. They preserve it morning and night, morning, evening, night. Those who urge the feeding of the poor, those who are dutiful in their union, turning to Allah. Those who are sincere, again, al-mukhlisin, the only ones that Iblis cannot touch. Those who are sincere and discreet in their union, turning to Allah. There's going to be so much that will be presented that will convince you that we need to change our Salah, because what they're doing is, it does look like the hypocrite Salah. So again, I don't want to upset anyone, but yes, this is why people do need to take this seriously and improve their Salah. I'm not saying get rid of that, but it needs to be improved. I'm doing what I need to do for myself, so I'm doing it in a way that you guys can also benefit. So those who are sincere and discreet in their union, turning to Allah. Those who grab every opportunity for even the smallest aid assistance. So yes, Iron Man and Maverick X were right about a lot. Let me see if I can read some of this. I hope it's okay to read this, Tom. I do love some of your comments. So I've said this privately to others as well. Newcomers find this very welcoming and very easy to take. It's obviously those who are trained through the tradition that are the problem. So he says, I believe it's safe to say that religious abuse is among the most severe forms of abuse. 100%. 100%. I believe it's safe to say that religious abuse, well, I've already said in the previous video, religions do not exist. At least not in the way that people understand them today. I believe it's safe to say that religious abuse is among the most severe forms of abuse. Great job in putting this list together. Thank you. Well, I do have to thank Iron Man, actually. I didn't take his. For me, I have to do my own work, but he did make me aware of it. Okay, so and for another reason why I'm doing this, because for a long time I've been asking Allah, show me my Salat so that I can derive my zakat. I will get into this as well, what zakat actually is. And we do need these reminders because we are created as forgetful beings. We are created weak and we are created as forgetful beings. So we do need these reminders. Reading last bit I want to read before I get into this. Reading the kitab at morning is also a salat. So someone commented on YouTube and I commented here. Yes, reading the Quran like I did this morning, that is a salat. That is a union with Allah. That is a dhikr. Once I've gone through this, you're going to see Salah is your connection to Allah. It is you remembering Allah. And that is not limited in any one form or way. So when people are telling you this is actually how you do Salah, you might want to run in the opposite direction. When people are telling you this is how you do dhikr according to the Quran, you might want to run in the opposite direction. There's not any one way. It's simple. Allah's given you. See, Allah doesn't do this in the Quran. He doesn't say how to go to the. I don't even want to mention it. How to do a lot of these details, because that's not befitting for Allah. This is the wise book in which you can then understand the rest of the hadith that is out there in the world today. Not just the Sunnah hadith, not just the Bukhari or Muslim hadith, the YouTube hadith, the Google hadith, the everything, the New Age spirituality hadith, the going to school hadith. This is how the Quran is. It's a furqan. It's something for you to be able to make your lens see everything else in the world correctly through. So Salat is a dhikr, remembrance of Allah. A union with Allah is made in many, many ways. In the same way, many things relate to Salat, such as al-bir, which for me personally is, well, actually I need to edit that. It's the justifiable duty, or it's the justified one. The one who is doing al-bir is the justified one. Doing his duty upon this land, al-bari. So al-bir, al-bari, the land. So Sam Gerrans was correct, was in fact pretty much correct, even if not correct in translation. Allah will no doubt reward Brother Sam Gerrans for freeing minds from self-oppression. So a lot of this is just copy and paste from the document I'm writing. Also, thank you, Brother Leslie, I've mentioned that. So the opposite of Salat, yep, I've mentioned that. But this bit, I already did a video about a year ago. And this is one more reason why I'm convinced. Because when I listened to Brother Leslie, it confirmed what I already figured out myself just by looking at Surah Ali Imran. Who are the kafir? It's not those who are rejecting the hadith and the sunnah of the messenger, but actually it's those who are turning away from the words of Allah, turning away from the book of Allah. So again, you can have a look at this. All of this I will be coming back to, and it's all in the document. So yeah, that was my response to when people say that these people who reject Bukhari, Muslim, etc. are kafir. Okay, so I learned of the Quran's usage of hen deities soon after the above video. Yep, and I'll just, okay, this should be the last thing I mention. So for those who don't know hen deities or hen diedas, however you say it, I will bring this up here right now as well, if it will come up. Yep. Okay, so I wrote this again a year ago in the book, so I'm just copying that. Any Arabic grammatician or student of the Quran worth their salt should acknowledge the linguistic use of hendayadis in the Quran. The expression of a single idea by two words. And again, I think, yeah, I have to thank Brother Shuaib, Baba Shuaib, correctional officer, because it was through watching one of his videos I became aware of this. So the expression of, oh, and Brother Nageto, the whole list that he presents of all the examples of, are we going to say that, you know, this is a war with Allah and a war with the messenger, that this is a hijrah to Allah and a separate hijrah to the messenger. Yeah, this is something that is overlooked heavily, that there is the use of hendayadis heavily used throughout the Quran. So I've just given some examples here. Nice and warm doesn't mean two separate things. It means it's nicely warm. To look with eyes and envy. So a lot of the top quality literature today, you'll see, you know, it's there. It's high quality literature. It's high quality language. Ours is a different type of language, evolved after a very long time. You know, when you look at Shakespeare, you'll see something very different that nobody will speak, and most people won't even be able to understand, except if they study very hard. So to look with eyes and envy doesn't mean that they looked with eyes and separately they looked with envy. It means that they look with envious eyes. He will send them a savior and a mighty one. This is in the Bible, meaning a mighty savior. Not that he will send them a savior and separately he will also send them a mighty one. So once you acknowledge that, you'll recognize that in the Quran, and does not necessarily mean and. It could do, but it might not necessarily mean. And in fact, you're going to see it's heavily used throughout the Quran. Okay, so that's hendayadis. So last thing, before I get into this, because I think all of these messages are important. Keep your salah. This is why I'm reading them, because they're very important messages. Keep your salah. Keep your union, your joining, your turning towards Allah for guidance. Traditional salat is basically a means of making union and doing dhikr, remembering Allah. But it is not salat. Traditional salat is not salat. It's a salat. It's a salat. It's a form of salat. A very dodgy, questionable form of salat that people definitely want to get rid of a lot of things. But it is not what the Quran is speaking about salat. But if that helps people make a connection and remember Allah, then can one argue against it? Minus all the shirk and very questionable, doubtful parts, of course. Can anyone truly say, this is how you do salat? So I said, stay connected. Stay connected to Allah. Stay connected in whichever way works for you. But most importantly, minus all of the shirk and very questionable parts. Okay, that should be that. Okay, now coming on to why I'm here today. You'll have to make this a part of you, and either you accept it or reject it. But you'll have to go through it yourself. I'm just trying to present this in the best way possible. So back to this, why I'm here. Surah 69. So from Surah 69 all the way to the end of the Quran, all of the mentions to do with Salah. The last one being in Surah 108, which is actually how I began this document. It's the last mention of the word Salah in this Surah 108. 3 verses. There's only 3 verses there. So this is the test. Can you see the 5 times traditional Salah in 3 verses there? No. Can you see the traditional Salah in 286 verses here? No. So this is already this amongst many other ways gives you confirmation that Salah in the Quran is not the 5 times traditional prayer. But it does not mean that when you are doing some form of that traditional prayer that you are not doing Salah, because any way that you find that you are mentioning the name of our Lord, you're remembering him, that is Salat. Any way that you are remembering Allah, that you are making some kind of connection with Allah. Ideally, from what you see in the Quran, doing these duties, just simply remembering, whichever way it is. But any way in which you are making a connection to Allah, that is a Salat. But ideally what we have in the Quran is a list of duties. So that's actually the most important. And it makes sense that when you're doing a duty, that you are connecting to Allah, you are remembering Allah. Just one way anyway. So yeah, back to 69. Surah 69. And why we're here, or why I'm here today. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. Okay, so now let me begin with the beginning of the document. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْهَرْ. Surah 108, as I mentioned, the last mention of the word Salah. Yeah, Salah. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَإِنْهَرْ, or wanhar. So make Salat, essentially, that's what it's saying. So make Salli, so make Salat to your Lord and sacrifice. So this is actually at the beginning of the document. And before I go into Salat, I first of all establish in this document, looking at some of these roots. Waw, Swad, Lam, Wasl. I look at that root very quickly, briefly. I look at Nahar, as you just heard mentioned. Fasalli li Rabbika wanhar. This one, Nahar. I look at that one very quickly, very briefly, just to establish. So you understand, once you understand Wasl and you understand Nahar and Hark, which is definitely burn, I'll quickly go through some of these. You'll understand why I need to go through this as well. Because as you can see here, they say, they translate as scorch him in the blaze. But you see there's only one clear word in the Quran that is burn. So I'll go through that. So why do they use this? Yeah, why do they use this as burn him? Yeah, when I can't see that. And actually you can actually destroy that, the whole burn him. And we'll come to that anyway. So Swad Lam Wow. So this is actually what Salat is heavily based on, this Swad, Lam and Wow, Salawah. That is the 99 occurrences, I think 99 occurrences of Salat. But then you've got these two here that are very similar. Wow, Swad, Lam and Swad, Lam, Ya. And okay, so I'll go through them one at a time. So yeah, this is still a work in progress, but some of these chapters already in this document. So beginning Al-Baqarah and Salat, as I said, can you find the traditional 5 times Salat in Al-Baqarah 286 verses? No. What do you get? That's what's important. Not that you can't find that. What do you get? And then, in addition to that, when you look at the end of the Quran, you get the confirmation of what is the characteristics of a Musallan. Ibrahim, Maqam Ibrahim, Musallan. That's what he is. He is the Musallan that we are supposed to follow. So what is a Musalleen? And then, this is where I'm up to, is Allah, the Malā'ika and Nabi all making Salat. And then after that, I will be providing what is it that should be Salah. What is, well, not how you pray Salah, but what is it that is clearly identifiable in the Quran as Salat. And it is essentially this duty in our union with Allah, Salat and Bir. Okay, so what Quranic Salat looks like. So I'll come to that. Okay, and as I've already said, do your own due diligence. If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone. What harms us is to persist in self-deceit. Well, actually, you are defeating yourself when you are deceiving yourself. So persist in self-deceit and ignorance. Marcus Aurelius, did he exist? I don't know. I don't care. This is the Lahwal Hadith that is in the world. You can take truth and wisdom everywhere. You can clearly tell that this is something good. And that's what it is. When people say, oh, what about the wisdom of the Prophet? Well, you're just going to find the same wisdom everywhere throughout the world. So, who brought this about? Who made this up? Allah knows best. Okay, first root word, number 1. Taking a quick look at root word, waw, swad, lam. To enjoin or to make union. So, looking at that root, waw, swad, lam. Wasl, to enjoin or to make union. So I've got here from Corpus Quran this wasl root 12 times in the Quran, and you can get an idea about what it is. So as you can see, join, reach, join, reach, convey. So it doesn't take a genius to work out even what wasila is. Once you've got this reach, join, you can clearly see it's join. It's join. You can use join in all of them. This is about the consistency of a word. You can use join in all of them. When you test it, join works in all of them. So that's why I've said the waw, swad, lam, to enjoin or to make union. Now if you go to, okay, so Salat seems to be connected to the derivatives. You can see that they're all derivatives of the same root. Swal, swala, sila, silu. A joining, a reaching, a union, or a uniting, a relation or relationship. As I've said, 3 words. If I was to choose one word, it would be union. If I was to choose 2 words that define this whole root of Salat, it'd be joining and union. If I was to give a 3rd word, I'd say relation or relationship. So let me give you some examples. So from verse 490, yasiluna. Right, and there you go. I don't need to say anything because they agree is join. Yeah, yasiluna. Illa ladina yasiluna, join, as you can see here. And look, link, connect. So you do get an idea of what Salat is. Join, link, connect. They're all synonymous. But does it work? Except those who join to a group between you and between them is a treaty. Yeah, it works. Yasiluna, join. So that's the first example. Then the next one, verse 28-35. So not they will join to both of you. Fala yasiluna. So they've said reach, but you can see that join still works. Look, yasiluna. What was this one? Yasiluna. It can't be a different meaning. So join and join again. But you can understand why they've decided to use reach. It kind of works, but it is still join. He said, we will strengthen your arm through your brother, and we will make for both of you an authority. So not, they will join to both of you. It works. Join. Let me carry on. 13:21. Again, yasiluna again. Yasiluna. But now we get, in these 2 verses, we get yasiluna and yusola. So here, yasiluna, join. No problem. Yusola, be joined. See, a lot of the truth comes by using what is already there and not playing this whole game of multiple meanings, confusing world of multiple meanings. Yeah, making out like Quranic Arabic is some magic language with multiple meanings. So therefore no one will ever make sense of it. No one will ever be able to agree upon what is actually being said. Anyway, all right. Yasiluna, join. Yusola, join. And those who join what Allah commanded by that it be joined, and cut off what Allah commanded by it to be joined. Also in 2:27. So wait, hold on, another occurrence. So I just showed 13:21. Yasiluna, join here. Yasiluna, join. I'll try to go a bit slower for those who are looking for the first time. Yusola, be joined. So it's clear. You can see Swad, Lam, Wow. Swad, Lam, Wow. Join. And then it occurs again in a few verses later, 13:25. Yusola, to be joined. Where's the other one? Maybe just the once here. Okay, Yusola, joined. Right. And also in 2:27, similarly. Yeah, join. You can see something that's joined can be cut off. Yeah. Wayaqda'una can be cut off. Something that is joined can be cut off. It makes sense. Join. Yusola again. So now we'll go to verse 6, 1, 3, 6. This time we got tasilu, yasilu, and yasilu again. Yep. And we'll bring up tasilu later. We'll need to have a look at that. How similar it sounds to another one. So 6, 1, 3, 6. Where is it? Okay, yasilu. They've said reach. You can understand. Still a joining. Does it work? Let's see. And this is for our partners. But it does, but not does it join unto Allah. And they say, not does it reach to Allah. It makes sense. Join still works. Do we need to change the translation? No. Because this is a different form of Arabic, a different type of speech. A different type of message. Okay, divine. And this is for our partners, but not does it join unto Allah. It joins to their partners. So when he saw their hands not in joining upon it, let's go to that one. That's very interesting. So 1170. Okay, so yasilu, and then tasilu. Okay, 1170. Tasilu. So they've said reaching, but as we know, we can see already that this whole swad lam does work with joining. But when he saw their hands not reaching to it, this is the food here. This is the story of Lut alayhi salam. So when he saw their hands not reaching upon it, it works. Their hands not joining upon it. You know, this is what people say. Will you not partake in this food? Will you not join us in this meal? Will you not join in this food? Will you not join in? It works. But when he saw their hands not joining to it, and then skip a few verses later, in this story of Lut alayhi salam and the angels coming before the destruction of that place. So 1181. O Lut, indeed we are emissaries of your Lord. And that's what Rasul is, emissaries. I go for emissaries and envoys, by the way. Nabi is not a prophet. Nabi is an envoy. A news envoy, news emissaries. Okay. O Lud, indeed we are emissaries of your Lord. They will not join you. What have they said? They will not reach you. You can see it still works. Join works in all of them. They will not join you. They will not join you. Well, actually, this can give a different kind of meaning, that they will not catch up with you. But really, what they're saying is, because this is how people feel. Maybe they will change their mind. Maybe we can save them. They will not join you. Maybe that actually gives a bit of a different picture. They will not join you. You need to leave. You need to forget about them. You need to make a move before this place is destroyed. They will not join you. Has a very different kind of feeling. They will not join you. Okay. And then the next example. 28:51. Wassalna. Walaqad wassalna. And indeed, we have. Okay, so they say conveyed. But you can see if I use join again, does it work? And for sure, we had joined to them the word, Al-Quran, enjoined upon them, you could say, enjoined to them. You can still see how this word, swad lam, Ṣalāt, swal, is all about a joining. It's all about some kind of union. You could even say we have united upon them, the word, or made union upon them, the word, or related to them, the word. You can see what this is essentially. This is not conveyed. Conveyed is actually quite poor. Conveyed is definitely very poor. When looking at this root and everything connected to this root, conveyed is very poor. A translation. And indeed, we have, enjoined, made union with, united upon them, related upon them, made a relationship to them. You get the idea, connected upon them. So, does join still work? Yes, I believe it does. And for sure, we had enjoined to them the word, Al-Quran, so that they may remember. Salat seems to be like our union, wasila, to Allah. Wasila is definitely union, but I can see this entire root being some kind of union. A union upon a code of conduct that Allah has commanded or ordained. Yes, duty, dharma, agreed. So yes, Brother Sam Gerns was right. Rejecting new information is one of the first steps people take to relieve cognitive dissonance, as I did. So I would like to bring up The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz. Probably was better if I used this at the very beginning. But yes, as you're listening to me even now, be skeptical, question everything, but learn to listen. Don't believe yourself or anybody else. That's very interesting. This works. Don't believe yourself or anybody else. So don't even believe me. And when I'm looking at something, I use this rule that I don't believe myself. Am I right? Question. Use the power of doubt to question everything you hear. Is it really the truth? Listen to the intent behind the words and you will understand the real message. This is a high-level skill for people to adopt. Most people are triggered today. Most people can't even increase that space between stimulus and response. Most people can't meditate. Most people can't read. Most people can't create. So what chance is there of people employing this fifth agreement? Well, if you're listening up to here, I believe you're one of them. So, yeah, congratulations. And I don't mean that sarcastically, I mean that sincerely. The highest form of ignorance is when you reject something you don't know anything about. Wayne Dyer. So yeah, attempting to understand wasal. All of this works, as you've just seen, as I've shown you examples. Union, unite, join, link, connect, contact, reach, arrive, deliver, relate, relationship, relation. You can see this, relate, relation, relationship. So yeah, all of this makes sense. When people do use these words, it makes sense and gives a very clear idea about the derivatives of this root. So a quick reminder, going back to one of the ones that we just looked at. Tasilu. So we just looked at tasilu and I used join. So when he saw their hands not enjoining upon the calf, yeah, that story of Lut alayhi salam, and the messengers of Allah coming to him to save him before the city is destroyed or before the town is destroyed. So if you look at that word, tasilu, and I said join or enjoining, doesn't it sound very similar to this one, 984, this very controversial one of the very controversial ones. So a lot of people say, and not you pray, as you can see here, and not pray for any of them who dies. Yeah, a kafir basically. So is it not you pray? Where is it? Tusalli. Let me take you back. What we just established. Tasilu. It's not the same, but can you see the similarity? Tasilu. They were not enjoining upon the calf. Tasilu. Wala tusalli. Well, it's definitely not pray. It's definitely not pray. What do they say? Yeah. And not you pray for any of them. It's not pray. Salat is not prayer. And Salat is not the 5 times traditional prayer. Okay. And not you pray. It's not my opinion. It's just fact in the Quran. And not you pray. So this is a question. We've already just looked at something very similar. Tasilu. Not enjoining upon the calf. Those messengers, those emissaries of Allah coming to save Lut alayhi salam, when he saw their hands not enjoining upon the calf. Tasilu. So not, can it still work there? And not you enjoin on any of them, or not you relate upon any of them, not you make some kind of union, as I've written here. It's definitely not pray. So, and not you make union, enjoin, relate upon the grave of a kafir that was a fasik. So for those who want to know, kafir, a blasphemer, a truth coverer, because that's what a blasphemer is. Someone who's covering the truth is blaspheming, and someone who's blaspheming is covering the truth. So you can take your pick, but yeah, truth coverer is connecting with that word cover, kafir, kufr. So that kind of person who's wicked and immoral, a fasik, it makes sense. Don't enjoin or relate upon the grave of a kafir. Or you can keep that if you like, and not you pray upon the grave of a kafir, but there is none of this praying upon people. There is none of this. So let me take you to the next one, 9103. We will be coming back to these in detail. This is just the beginning of the document. So wasalli and salataka, 9103. So the same surah and just a few verses later. So people like to say, not you pray upon the grave of a kafir or fasik. Well, it seems like not you make some kind of union, enjoin or relate. So let's have a look here. So that's tusalli, and then we got wasalli. A few verses later in the same surah, Surah Tawbah. Okay, so this is an example of the hen deities that I was talking about. So, take from their wealth, amwal. Okay, let me take this slowly. I'll have to take you slowly through this. So take, and they like to say, oh Muhammad. Well, they're not wrong when they say international, take, oh Muhammad, because that is it. Allah speaking to the messenger of that time, and we're supposed to put ourselves in that position today. So take, O Muhammad, from their amwal, their mal, their wealth. Take from their wealth a sadaqah. This is the only charity there is. Zakat is not charity. Zakat is not 2.5%. That's one pillar of one of the 5 pillars destroyed. Does not exist in the Quran. There is absolutely none. Although giving 2.5% of your wealth is a form, is a way of you getting zakat. That's what's interesting. Zakat is not 2.5%, so I'll come to that. Zakat is not 2.5% of your wealth, but by you giving 2.5% of your wealth, and it shouldn't be 2.5% anyway, but by giving a portion of your wealth, that is one way that you will derive zakat for yourself. That's what's interesting. So I'll come to that. Zakat is spiritual purification. It's a different type of purification. So that's what's being told by them when Allah is telling the Nabi, the news envoy of Allah, when Allah is telling the news envoy of Allah that take from these new believers, take from their wealth a sadaqah. What does it do? So this will help people understand, because you'll find elsewhere they'll say purify and purify. Let me see. By which you purify and cause them increase. See? Elsewhere you'll see they try to translate zakat as purification. Well, not entirely wrong. In fact, it is quite accurate. But it's a different type of purification, because it can't be both purifying. تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ. So this is actually kind of like a hen. Well, actually, is it hen hadith? Well, it's two things that are actually happening by taking a portion of their wealth. So طَهِّرُهُمْ is actually closer translated as cleansing, and I think people will be happy with that. So that's that type of purification. تُطَهِّرُهُمْ is cleansing, something that disinfects you or sanitizes you. You can take your pick, but it's a cleansing. And whereas this zakat is the actual purification. So by taking a portion of their wealth, a charity, a sadaqah, that will cleanse them, it will sanitize them and spiritually purify them. When you are spiritually purified, you are a more enlightened being. That's what zakat is. غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا, a spiritually pure boy. You could maybe even say enlightened, but definitely spiritually pure. It's not just pure, it's something else. It's a different type of purification. But again, just staying focused on the salah bit. So take from, so wasalli, going back to this, to salli. We looked at tasilu. Let me just take you back again. So tasilu, join. They did not enjoin upon the calf. The emissaries of Allah coming to Lut alayhi salam, they did not enjoin upon the calf. Tasilu. And then here, tusalli. Do not join, do not enjoin upon the grave of a kafir, of a fasik. Tusalli. And now here we have wasalli and salataka. Take from their wealth a sadaqah that will cleanse them, sanitize them, and spiritually purify them by it. And bless, it's very poor, it's very bad. And bless, there has to be consistency. But now if we keep to what I've been saying, the emissaries of Allah did not enjoin upon the calf of Lut alayhi salam. Do not enjoin upon the grave of a kafir or a fasik. And when you take, O Muhammad, when you take from their mal a sadaqah, which cleanses them, sanitizes them, and spiritually purifies them by it, and enjoin upon them. This makes sense. Don't just take this, but enjoin upon them. Make some kind of unification upon them. Make some kind of union, some kind of relationship upon them. This makes sense. Why? Because it's further qualified. Indeed, your blessings, is that what it is? Prayers and blessings. That's what they say, isn't it? And your prayers. And pray upon them. Well, here they decided joining. So, and join upon them. Why? Because indeed, well, this tells you straight away, it is join. Because your joinings, your enjoyment upon them, your enjoining with them, your union, that gives them tranquility. Sakina, that gives them tranquility. And not you make union upon the grave of a kafir that was a fasik. Take, O Muhammad, from their wealth, amwalihim, a charity, sadaqah, cleansing, sanitizing them, tutahhiruhum, and spiritually purifying them, enlightening them with it, watuzakkihim, and salli, make union or join, or make relations, connections upon them. Indeed, your salataka, that tells you these two are talking about the same thing. Wasalli and salataka. It's talking about the same thing. As they see it themselves, bless and blessings. So once you know that this is join, this is the joinings. And make union, join, or make relations, connections upon them. Indeed, your salataka, your unions, your joinings. So people should get an idea. Prayer does not exist. The word prayer does not exist. The 5 times traditional salat does not exist. Indeed, your unions, your joinings are sakanun, a soothing, tranquil dwelling. Take it however you like. Sakina, some kind of home, maybe. How you see a home, something that is soothing, a tranquil dwelling for them. That's what it is, sakanun, sakina. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So we'll return to these later. Again, all of this is going to be in the document. So this will be, I'll go further into detail on this in that chapter. Allah, the Malā'ika and Nabi all making salat. So I take this slowly because you do need to take this slowly. You have to think, is Allah praying upon the Nabi? Are the Malā'ika praying upon the Nabi? Is the Nabi praying upon them? It doesn't make sense. But when you use this word join or making union, it makes sense. Allah and the Malā'ika are making union upon the Nabi. The Nabi is making a union, a joining, some kind of relationship upon the people. So another quick reminder, I have previously emphasized that Salat is intricately connected to the DEEN, the debt terms, and the Qibla, which is not a direction. The Qibla is an acceptable, attractive way. So those who've been following, they'll see. I'll be leaving the links to all of this. All the work is going back to somewhere around March, April. I began this with the Qibla. I thought, okay, this is crazy. Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam, they're told to make their houses into Qiblas. So there can't be multiple directions of prayer. That's when you know. But anyway, focusing on Salat. They're all neutral terms. Just like Sahaba and Sunnah, the normative way or companions, just like Sahaba, companions, and Sunnah, normative way, are both neutral terms, not glorified terms, because that's what we have. When people just keep on repeating like maniacs. Sunnah, Sunnah, Sunnah. You know. Yeah, in the Quran there's Sunnat al-Awwaleen and Sunnat Allah. Sahaba as well, it's not a glorified term. There's Ashabul Nar and Ashabul Jannah. Yeah, they're neutral terms. They're all neutral. We've got the DEEN of the kafir and we've got the DEEN of the believer. We've got the Qibla of the kafir and the mushrik, and we've got the Qibla of the believers. They're all neutral terms. Right, so the kafir, the blasphemers or truth coverers, and mushrik, false associators, also have their DEEN, their millat. You could say militant, religious way. They have the Qibla, they have their Salat. That's the most important thing to remember, that the kafir also and the mushrik, they have their Salat as well. So what kind of Salat is that? The union. We're told to make ours authentic, sincere, grateful, not lazy. There's several things, I'll come to that. But the hypocrites, the munafiq, the mushrik, they also have their Salat. And this is actually what people should get scared about. The traditional Salat, which one does it resemble? Does it resemble the believers' Salat, or does it resemble the hypocrites? Okay, root word number 2. This should be very quick. Right. Yeah, this isn't easy to do, but I know it has to be done. Okay, so very quickly, root word number 2, taking a brief detour with the root word nahar, to sacrifice, because those who saw the previous video, I was trying to understand, they use several words and they say that all of these words mean sacrifice. Now again, you can see that they belong to the family of words that all kind of connect to sacrifice, but they do have different meanings. So dhabiha is slaughter, which is a form of sacrifice. So they are connected to the family of sacrifice, but for me there's only one word that I can see that means sacrifice. Nahar, sacrifice. Over here, this is the last mention, as I said, towards the end of the Quran, the last mention of anything connected to Salah, Salli. So looking at that, wanhar. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ wanhar. Yeah, so that seems to be sacrifice. Slaughter, dhabiha, sacrifice, nahar. Qurbani, an offering. They're all, you can argue that they're all forms of sacrifice. Even fasting is a form of sacrifice. Even making salat is a form of sacrifice. Giving sadaqah is a form of sacrifice. So we have to be specific. In a similar way, yep, so I won't go through this. So yes, Surah 108. Al-Kawthar, the abundance. Indeed, we have granted you kathir, a lot, abundance, basically. So solli to your Lord, and anhar, sacrifice. It makes sense. Make union to your Lord and sacrifice. We've given you a lot. We've given you a lot. So be grateful. Make union to Allah and sacrifice. It makes perfect sense. Indeed, He, the one that hates you, He is the one that is cut off. It's a reminder at the very end. Don't, I get the feeling of don't hoard, don't try to protect, don't be afraid of sacrificing, of connecting and sacrificing, be it your life or your possessions. So this is at the very, this is my title of this entire Salat document, because it's the last mention of anything connected to Salat. And this is what it is that we're told to do, make sacrifice. And it resonates because once you look at what Salat is in the Quran, feed the poor, take care of the orphans, do your duty. It's all about sacrifice. It's all about doing your duty. This is Salat. Say indeed, my Salati, my union relationship, and Nusuki, my seclusion. That's what I got the feeling of, like an opposite. My connection, my disconnection, my union. Let me bring that up. 6162. Say indeed my Salati. So as you can see, sacrifice. So again, it's like they got close, but not quite close enough, is my opinion. Say indeed my connection and my disconnection. That's what I see here. My union with Allah and my leaving of things, my sacrifice, my pulling away of things. That's what I see. Like an ascetic, yes, like an ascetic does. There's truth everywhere. People have truth, remnants of truth in all religions. That's what I see today. Whatever we see in the Quran, we see examples of it everywhere. So my union, my salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen are all for Lord of the realms. Okay, so that's salat and sacrifice. Moving on to root word number 3. A brief reminder about the root word haraka. So to burn. This one will not take much. So we're looking at haraka, this root here, but we're keeping in mind swad lam ya, which they say, as you can see, burn, burn, burn. Look at how similar this is to salat, what we've been looking at. Solli, look, yasla, sallu, usli, all sounding like connected to salat. So we're going to come to that. That's the 4th one. Today we're not going to be going into salat massively, but I'm just looking at some of these that you can hopefully make a distinction with or be clear about, establish, and then understand the rest. So swad, lam, ya. They say burn, 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 burn. Warm, burn, 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 burn. Well, I dispute that. This one is burn, haraka. So we're looking at these two roots. A brief reminder about the root word haraka, to burn. So I'm just going to give these 2 examples. They've got, it's 9 times in the Quran, but it's enough for me to just give 2 examples. 29:24. Which is clearly, so you'll be clear how burn is used. Kill him or burn him. I think, is this Ibrahim alayhi salam? Yes, I believe so. Yep, Ibrahim. People will be familiar with this story. Yeah, so they protest because he was a Musallan. He was the archetype, the Musallan, the example we're supposed to follow. And yeah, he was against the rest of his people. So they wanted to throw him in the fire. They wanted to burn him. Kill him or burn him. So that is kill, actually. Sorry, guys. For those who say it's not kill, it is kill. There's a lot of this going on in the Quran alone community. Getting rid of things that... You're trying to get rid of things that probably don't sound socially acceptable today. But actually it's there. Yeah, kill him or burn him. It is kill. Right. So kill him or burn him. Allah saved him. It's not combat him. It's not fight him. It's kill him or burn him. Anyway, so that's burn. So you get a good idea. Harikuhu. Kill him or burn him. But Allah saved him from the fire. So that's the first example. So there's there's several verses here, 9 occurrences, but I only have to show you 2 to get a good idea. And then 85:10 towards the end of the Quran. The burning punishment. Adhabul hariq. The burning punishment. So we're clear. Harq is burn. No arguing about that. They all agree. Burn, 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 burn. Burn. No arguing about that. Now we're clear about that. That's what I'm saying. We don't need to spend long on that. Now we can go to this root. Swad lam ya. How on earth did they come to burn here? How did they use this root to say burn? Something very strange here. Burn. Swad lam ya. Well, I'm sticking to, as you know by now, to enjoin or to unite. Does it work? So let me take you through a few examples. The first one, 38:56. Hopefully you're familiar with the sounding of these words now. Yaslawnaha. So Jahannam. They will burn therein, or they will be united or joined therein. I think we can see how Allah speaks. It's much more appropriate. Hell, join, unite therein, a miserable cradle, resting place. They pray. They can't make up their minds. Pray, prayer, burn. No, it's not pray, and it's not burn, as we've already established. Burn is haraka. Burn is haraka. Like Ibrahim alayhi salam, kill him or burn him. Harikuhu. Adhab al-hariq. Jahannam, yes, it is a burning punishment. But how you say things matters. Does Allah say? So this one, they use swad lam ya as all, mostly burn, as you can see, burn. But I am contesting that. Jahannam, yaslawnaha fabits al-mihad. So Jahannam, join therein, join in her. Hell, Jahannam, feminine, join in her. Yaslawnaha, join in hell, unite in hell therein. This is the result for what you do. That's what it is. It's not, yeah, it's not throw you, sling you, burn you. Join therein. It's your choice. Hell, they will join therein, and wretched is the resting place. Well, yeah, a miserable cradle. That's what mihad is. Mahdi, the cradle, mihad. Hell, join therein, a miserable cradle. A miserable cradle, a miserable resting place. So let me take you to another example. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. Now this is where I recited this morning and I thought, that's it, gotta do this today now. Been working on this for almost 2 weeks, gotta do this today. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. Then hell, صَلُّوهُ, join, unite him. Pray for him again. Pray for him. They love that word pray for Salah. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوا. Then the hell, al-jahim, join, unite therein. Makes sense. Join, unite therein, or join him in the hellfire. Another example, 74:26. So now this one is, yes, this is the infamous Saqar. So for those who looked at a thumbnail, they're thinking, when are we going to get to that? Yeah, probably wasn't the best thing for me to put that thumbnail, but it is all encompassed in this. It's about Salah in Saqar. So look, as you can see, Sa'uslihi, Salah. This is the same derivative. Swad lam ya. What do they say? I will pray for him in hell. You'll pray for him in hell? That doesn't make sense. And then they say, soon I will admit him. They can't make up their mind about this one. This is a big indicator. They can't make up their mind about this one. But you can see this is connected to this root that they say is burn, but clearly it's connected to Salah. Swad lam ya. It's connected. And as you know, I stand by the word union or join, or if you want a third option, I'd say relate, relationship. But as you can see, soon I will pray it in hell. No, soon I will unite him in hell, or join him, or make. Yeah, he will make a union in hell. He will unite him. Soon I will unite him in Saqar. Saqar is the name of hell. Is it just another name of hell? Is it a name of one of the 7 hells? That will be for another time. Probably, I'm not denying one way or the other, but for now, just talking about Salah. Soon I will admit him. They can't make up their mind. Look, I'll put it here. I won't go through all of them here. I've already been through them, the translations. They say admit him in hell, drive him in hell, place him. Well, place is actually quite good. That's appropriate language. But drive him in hell. It's a bit like sling, fling, cast, throw, burn, roast. Yeah, where did burn, roast go? They loved it. They love using this, burn, roast. Where did it go? Let me make this a bit bigger. Okay, so yeah, where did all of these go? Just focusing on this one right now. I want to make this big. Get this clear. Right, so Yaslona, hell, join, unite therein. Then the hell, Al-Jahim, join, unite him therein. Salluhu, you can see they're all connected. Yaslona, Salluhu, Uslihi. Soon I will join, unite him in Saqar. Where did burn, roast go? They can't make up their mind. Admit, drive, place, throw, cast, fling, make. But I can make up my mind. It's join, we unite. Okay, so another example. Okay, ثم إنهم لصوال الجحيم. There it is again. You can see how this sounds. Swalu, laswalu. Surely will burn. They love using that. For your prayers, burn or prayers. Nope, incorrect on both accounts. ثم إنهم لصوال الجحيم. Then indeed they will join, unite the hell. That's what it is. They will join, unite with the hell. Yasla, the one. Let me go to another one. Alladhi yaslan. So you'll remember we've looked at something very similar to this, if not the exact same already. And it's not burn and it's not prayer. The one who will join, yasla, the one who will join, unite the great fire, an-nar. And last example. Surah Al-Masad. Sayasla naran dhat lahab. That famous Abu Lahab, or Abi Lahab, as they say in the traditional narrations. But focusing on Salah. Yasla, he will be joined, united in a fire of flames. That's what the great fire is, a fire of flames. So of course you can imagine that yes, there is a burning, but how you say something matters. Look, the burn seems very much added. This is, he will be joined, united in a fire of flames. So Yasla, he will pray again. burn. No, wrong again on both accounts. The burn seems very much added. How you say something matters. My child, do not go there, it will burn you. That is very different to, I will burn you. He will burn. I will fling you. I will throw you. I will roast you. All of this language matters. You have to be as accurate as possible to what it is that this divine text says. So I have a little bit on here. Yep, it matters. Do not misunderstand me. I do believe the Quran is against today's new norms. For example, it is sexist. Now, I don't mean to trigger with that word, but sexist in the original sense of the word. All of this, the language has been played with. Just keep that in mind. Not the Orwellian state thought polices double think sexism. No. The point is this, that there is a difference. Allah, there's many examples. I'm just going to give a couple. And not is the male like the female. The Quran does judge the sexes differently. There is prejudice. The Quran does discriminate, assess the sexes differently. There's justice, there's absolute justice, there's absolute fairness, there's absolute kindness, there's absolute love and all of these things and mercy. But there is this as well. So yeah, another verse. The gentlemen are caretakers of the women. 434. So anyway, I'm not going into this. I'm pointing out because I'm bringing up the whole not burn him. People say, oh, he's trying to make this a nicer sounding Quran, a gentler sounding Quran. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to be honest with the language, what Allah said. This word, Salah, and there is no burning to this word Salah, as far as I can see. So I say this so people are reassured. I'm not looking to reinvent the Quran with modernist ideologies. Modern ideologies and woke programming. We are all forgetful, amnesic, traumatized. Actually, I need to change that. Victims that are victors. Victims turned into victors. So yes, we are all victims, but we are also victors. We are all victims turned into victors, transformed into victors. The whole world is traumatized. The whole world is a victim. You can either stay like that or become a victor. So yeah, but this is why we need the reminder, because we are forgetful. We are amnesiac. This is our condition. That's why Allah gave us the reminder. Do not let that change our foundations of truth, our anchored reality, because we ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I don't go through any of what's going on in the world today anymore, not that much. But yeah, we haven't seen anything yet. I know. I'm fully aware. I haven't decided to go soft. I'm fully aware. Just at a different stage. But for whom fears the position of his Lord are two orchard havens. So there is fear, but how you say something matters. Allah does not say fear me. He says whom fears the position of his Lord. That makes sense. If I had a CEO, if I worked for a CEO and he said fear me, how would that sound in comparison to someone telling me you need to be afraid of the position of the CEO? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I definitely need to be afraid of the position of the CEO or my boss. But there's a difference between that and the boss saying fear me. Yeah, that just sounds off. We are supposed to fear the position of Allah. Hell is depicted as a frightful, eternal destination for many. But the Quran does not appear to say, fear me. It says to have khawf, fear of his position, his authority. And it does not say, I will roast, burn him. It says, he will be joined, united in a fire of flames. The specifics matter. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is devastation. Ignorance is tragedy. And ignorance is illness. It all stems from ignorance. Lahu al-hadith, good hadith. Well, actually I wouldn't say this is lahu al-hadith. This is hadith beyond ahsan al-hadith, but good hadith. A reminder before we go into the main purpose of this study. Root word number 5. Okay, so another break. So I'm not going to do that today because it's already going to be a long recording and session. And I think it's good to just take what you can from this today and maybe this on another occasion. But the document, so just for those who do want to know, this is actually when I get into the meat of things. Once you've established what we've established, now you can get into the meat of Salat in the Quran. So that is the root word number 5. And the way I do that, so just for people to know, so I define it as this whole root, swad, lam, wow, to make relationship, to turn towards, to make a union. And the way I do that is by going to the beginning of the Quran. And again, like I said, I won't be going through that here now because that will be a lot. But you can see that there are very important lessons to pick up. Just very quickly, I mean, Maqam Ibrahim Musallan, this is in Surah Baqarah, this is what you get. You get the understanding of Salat and Zakat, Salat and Al-Bir, Salat and Qibla. So, Sabr and Salat. And then there's the multiple of Salat in the middle one, prayer or duty. So if you do want to know just the conclusion, I'm just wondering whether to do that now or leave it. But yes, there is a lot. So again, just for those who don't know or want to know right now. Okay, so I just had to adjust that. So I'm not going to go through this right now, but I go through all of Surah Al-Baqarah. But just because this comes up a lot for people. So Maqam Ibrahim and Musallan, that's what it is. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but just a reminder. People can pause it if they're new to this. Musallan, Musalla. It's already on Patreon. I did this a long time ago. But yeah, it appears that when the prefix mu is added to a word, it means that the person or thing is serving a vehicle for the word, i.e. one who. Mushrikeen, that is a person who's doing shirk. Mu'mineen, that is a person who is doing or having faith, iman. Muhajireen, that is a person who is making hijrah. Munafiqeen, that is a person who is doing nifaq, hypocrisy. Muslimin, that is a person who is submitting or surrendering to peace. Muslimin, that's plural. So same thing, mu and in, Musallan, Musalleen. Musalleen is basically plural of Musallan, and Musallan is a person who's doing Salat. So that's what is it, Maqam Ibrahim, Musallan, not the prayer mat, not the prayer mat. Musalla is not a prayer mat. Okay. And then very quickly the conclusions. Yep, so this is what you get in Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, I'm not going to read them. You can pause it if you want to know now. But yes, I've already got the conclusion in Al-Baqarah, and that's why I know. Yeah, I'd be silly to say that yes, Salat is what we've been taught. But it's all of this. And it's intricately connected to Al-Bir. But this will be for another time. And then I go to the end of the Quran. So characteristics of a Musallan at the end of the Quran, as we just saw. So what I'm going to do today, I'm not going to go through this, through the end of the Quran, slowly. And that will be it for today. So going back to what I recited and slowly going through the Quran. So I began with this recitation. ثم الجحيم صلوا ثم الجحيم صلوا. And then it's interesting. What is it this person who is united or joined in al-Jahim. What did this person not do? Look, you're going to see the characteristics of a Musalleen. He did not feed the poor. He did not feed. Yeah, he did not feed the poor. When you stick to what the Quran's message actually is, it encompasses a lot of people in the world today that don't necessarily even label themselves Muslim. These people have a good chance of going to paradise. Those who have these characteristics, not those who do this traditional 5 times prayer. Do they feed the poor? This is why we need to wake up. This is why I need to wake up. This is why I need to be doing more of these things. Look who it is that goes into the fire, is united in the fire. The person who does not feed the poor. So bear with me, I'm going to go through this slowly because I know I haven't done this. I'm actually doing this with you now. But I'm going to find, that's when I stopped. I just saw this and I thought, that's it. I have to do this because these are the characteristics of a Musalleen. And look at what he'll get because he did not feed the poor. So he's punished with eating something else. Again, I don't need to go through this right now. Just sticking to Salat and the characteristics of a Musalleen. Okay, so that's Surah 16:9. Now going to the... So that is already an indication of the characteristics of a Musalleen. That we're told the one that's going into the hellfire is the one who did not feed the poor. He did not. Yep. He did not feed the poor. He did not advocate. He did not urge the feeding of the poor. The words matter. This is urgent. This is urgent. We need to prompt others. I need to prompt myself. I need to prompt you. So urging of the feeding of the poor, the miskin. This makes sense. Okay, and then Surah 70. Surah Al-Ma'arij. Okay, so if you look at this, I've got 3 mentions here of this surah. Warning of punishment except for who? Except for Al-Musalleen. So who are Musalleen? Who are the Musalleen? Right. Al-Musalleen and their Salat defined. So I'm not sure whether I want to go through in detail with you or just give you the summary. Okay, we as Musalleen are supposed to follow the archetype of monotheism, Ibrahim the Musallan from Surah Al-Baqarah. Question, so who are Al-Musalleen according to Allah in the Quran? We can see here, except for Al-Musalleen. And then we have the description. So I'll just read them out here. The people doing Salat, Al-Musalleen, are defined as Salatihim, those who are Da'imun, constant, perpetual, everlasting in their union, their relationship. Their union, their relationship. So it's not even service. I know I used to say service prayer. It's not even that. So those who are constant, perpetual, everlasting in their union, their relationship with Allah. And how do they keep that? I know it says and, so people will argue, no, that's someone else now. And those who do this. Okay, you can take that if you want. But it's clear. This is a listed description of who the successful Musalleen are. This whole and, people can argue. Make up things with this and. This is just how the language is. You have to take the language for how it is. Not try to fit it in the way we understand language. Okay, so and those in their wealth is a known right for the asker, beggar, and the deprived, and those who validate, affirm the day of DEEN. and those who have an aversion. I mentioned this list at the very beginning on Patreon. Those who have an aversion, mushfiqun. That's what mushfiqun is. What did they put? Yeah, dread. Not quite dread, no. Well, maybe apprehension, not dread. Mushfiqun, not compassionate. Yeah, those who have an aversion to the punishment of their Lord. Indeed, they are not secure from the punishment of their Lord yet. And those who preserve, yep, I've gone through this list at the very beginning. Those who preserve guard their private parts, their openings, except from their partners or those they rightfully own. For them, they are blameless. I don't want to stop this until this is done. Okay, except from their partners or those they rightfully own. For them, they are blameless. So whoever inappropriately seeks beyond that, they are al-adun. Sounds very similar to aduun mubin, udwan, adun, enemy. Whatever it is, what does it say? 7031. Yeah, transgressors. Yeah, something very bad anyway. So whoever inappropriately seeks beyond that, they are the al-adun. Something enemy. The repeater. Adat. I don't know if that's why they said that adat, but this is much more closer to aduwwum mubin or adwa, enemy. Okay, and those who are ra'un. So those who observe is not right. To shepherd. Those who are shepherds over their trusts, security. See, it's beautiful language. Those who are shepherds over their trusts and their covenants, their promises. And those who are qa'imun, upstanding, upright in their testimonies. You're going to see, if you take this iqama or qa'imun or aqimus salah, you'll understand it's not stand. Yeah, it's not necessarily a physical standing. Just like here, qa'imuna, upstanding in your testimony. It doesn't mean you're literally standing on your testimony. It means you're upstanding, you're upright in your testimony, your shahada, or what they witness. So when you're told aqimus salah wa atu zakah, keep up your salah. Keep it standing up. Keep up that wall of your connection to Allah. Keep it up. Their testimonies, their shahada, what they witness. And those who are qa'imun, upstanding, upright in their testimonies, shahada, what they witness. Salatihim. You can see how much salat is used here. Look. Salatihim. And where? Salatihim and Musalleen. 3 times. That's why I'm going through this right now. 3 mentions of this salat. And those whom preserve God, their salatihim, their union, their relationship. Yeah. Salatihim. Hafidhun. Preservation. I know we're used to God, but there's more preservation. But yes, God as well. And those whom preserve God, their salatihim. These are the ones in Jannatin Mukramun. Dignified. So Jannat is not necessarily garden. Garden is Hadaik. That's true. So it's not gardens, but it's not exactly wrong either. But if you want to get to the specifics, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's some kind of maybe vineyard, orchard, something like this. I don't know. Some kind of haven, essentially. We get a description of what this haven is. But yeah, it's not necessarily garden. Ulā'ika fi jannatim mukramun. So they'll say honorable. But it's something about dignity, this word. But anyway, focusing on Salah. Al-Musalleen. So here it is, the summary. Okay, let me just see if I can see anything. Okay, moving on to maybe 71. No, I don't believe so. 71. Okay, moving on to 73. So So 73. You get the very end, Ṣalāt. So this is where people think this is doing Qiyamul Layl, Ṣalāt. Because it's Layl. And that's fine. If you do Qiyamul Layl, it's still a union with Allah, but it's not what we've been taught. And if someone innocent did make this up, trying to carry out what it is that they see in the Quran, then Allah bless them. It's a form of Salat, but it's not necessarily the Salat. Salat is a union. So yeah, okay, I'm not going to go through that, but if you want that, so just going through the back end of the Quran. Yeah, it's basically easy reading of heavy sayings at night. I've got this all in the document, and I think I've already gone through enough. What is Tilaw? Yep. So, okay, so this is basically what it is. It's the envoy, the Nabi, getting up at night for as-salat, for the union with Allah. That's what this essentially is. Yep, all derivatives of this word as-salat has so far been clearly defined as union, relationship, or some kind of uniting, joining. Can we see anything different in Surah 73, Al-Muzammil? No. And then moving on to Surah. Right, so what we're actually here for, or what the thumbnail is actually speaking of. Another quick break.
The power of Isengard is at your command, Sauron, Lord of the Earth. Ask, warrior, build me an army worthy of Mordor. Build me an army worthy of Mordor. Build me an army worthy of Mordor. Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Three rings for the Elven-kings under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf-lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie, where the shadows lie.
Okay, hopefully my voice can hold up for the rest of this recording. So yeah, accept that or reject that. I don't like to dwell on those things, but it is too much of a coincidence for me. The 19 rings of power. So I bring that up because I'm going to be looking at this bit. We're still focusing on Salah, but you can't avoid this strangeness of what is taking place in the world with the number 19, and how this number 19 is fascinating. It's taken a huge portion of people following the Quran into completely another world of 19, the 19ers. I don't want to go into all of this. I have tried to understand this just over a year ago, But yeah, it looks like I understand this a bit more now. So, but anyway, focusing on Salah, that's the main thing. But let's see if you agree with how I understand this. Okay, so just before I get to this, so as you can see here in Surah 74, Surah Al-Mudaththir, verse number 30, over it are 19. Okay, so before that, I'm looking at this bit here. So this word is another derivative of what I deem to be the same root connected to this word, Salah. As you can see, Swad, Lam, Ya. Swad, Lam, Ya. So just a quick reminder before I go into this 19 and trying to understand this, what is being said here is definitely not roast, as I said. Yeah, if you remember the previous one, I will burn him. It's not burn, it's join, unite. So all of these derivatives, or these connected to this same root, it all seems to be union, joining, join, unite. So this one also looks like, okay, before I get to that, so just a quick reminder. The envoy, the Navi, getting up at night for as-salat. So a reminder that none of these multiple instances of as-salat have lent any support to the traditional 5 pillars of Islam style salat so far, and have only supported a list of duties alongside this union relationship with Allah. So all derivatives of this word as-salat has so far been clearly defined as union, relationship, or some kind of uniting, joining. Can we see anything different in surah number 73? So that's just before this surah that we're looking at now. Can we see anything different in surah 73, Al-Muzammil? Another quick reminder that we already have established that Al-Musalleen and their Salat is defined in surah number 70, Al-Ma'arij. So that's in surah number 70. It's already defined. Again, just reminding for those that are new. I know this is very complex stuff. I know this it can go above most people's heads. So yes, this is very hard work to go through, and you can probably tell by my voice anyway. But yeah, hopefully this makes sense to you, what I'm showing you. That from all here, from surah number 69 all the way to the end of the Quran, this is what I'm trying to demonstrate, that from here, this back end of the Quran, you get a very different picture of Salat. So Al-Musalleen and their Salat is defined in Surah 70 Al-Ma'arij. Surah Al-Muzammil ends similarly to the beginning with the confirmation of getting up for a portion of the night. 2/3, a half, or a third. Nothing precise. Yeah, that's what you get. All of this will be in the document, so I won't dwell on any of this for too long. Getting up for what though? Is it getting up for the traditional 5 pillars of Islam style salat? So yeah, what you have here is فَقْرَؤُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْهُ وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَقْرِضُوا اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. So read what is easy from it and keep as-salat, the union, keep, stay, as-salat, the union, and derive az-zakat. That's what is zakat, is something that is brought about, or that you derive, that it comes or it came as a result of you keeping up as-salat, the spiritual purification. So that is what is derived by keeping up the union with Allah. The spiritual purification is what comes, or it came as a result of keeping up as-salat, the union. And lend Allah a goodly loan of your time in, I've put in brackets here, of your time in gratitude, reflection, requests. Okay, so is this entire surah from the beginning to the end not speaking about the envoy of Allah getting up for a portion of the night with a group of fellow believers to receive, read, and chant these hymns? Yeah, that's what it is, these hymns. These surahs are hymns. And chant with ease these heavy words from heaven. So that's in Surah number 73. I'm just giving a bit of context. So we've gone through 69, 70, 73. Now in 74, is there any indication again to the traditional 5 pillars of Islam style Salat? No, there isn't. So now let's go to the next surah. 19 Malā'ika over Saqar and hellfire companions in Surah Al-Mudaththir. So after an elaboration about Saqar, a name for hellfire, the 19 Malā'ika designated over it as companions of the fire. This is the best that I've been able to understand this. A specified counted number. So I'm just going to read this, but I'll point to each of these bits. A specified counted number, purposefully placed as an appealing temptation. That's what it is. It's some kind of for the kafir, it's mesmerizing, or some kind of enchantment, some kind of, it's a fitna for them. That's what it is. It's a fitna for the kafir, for the blasphemers. For the believers, it's very different. This mentioning of this 19 is very different. But for the kafir, it's the opposite. They challenge, what does Allah mean by this? Why give this as an example? What does Allah mean by this example? Whereas Allah is saying that it's a specified counted number. So it's purposefully placed as an appealing temptation, a trial for the kafir, for the blasphemers, the astray, whose sick hearts will challenge Allah's intention about citing this, but a means of increasing faith and guidance to the secure believers of the Book of Allah, leaving no suspicion. This is the contrast. This is a very important contrast between the two groups of how they look at this bit here. So my intention is to focus on this, that it is not roast. It's I will join him in Saqar. I will unite him. Let me get to that. Okay, so we soon, after this whole mentioning, where is that? 26:31. Yep, so this is that big long verse. So everyone focuses on this, but I don't think everyone's got the next bit. Everyone focuses on this. Alayha tis'ata ashar. But I'm not sure whether people have quite grasped what the next verse says. So that's what I just put in bullet points here. So when I say there's 19 Malā'ika designated over it as companions of the fire, here is we have appointed none but the Malā'ika as, well, it says wardens, but it's, friends, companions, basically, of the fire. What is the fire? That's the Saqar. Saqar is another name for this fire. Is it one of the 7 hells? Again, maybe for another time. And we cause their number. That's what it is. This is specified. This number is counted. Iddatahum is a specified counted number, purposefully placed as a fitna, as a temptation, as a trial. It's a fitna for who? For the kafir. It's a fitna for kafru, the blasphemers, for those who cover up the truth. The astray, as it says here. Where is the astray? These are the astray. Yudwillu. Whose sick hearts? Where is that? Qulubihim. Their hearts. Sick. Illness, There's a sickness in their hearts. Who? The kafir, who are astray. This is what is being said here. The astray whose sick hearts will challenge Allah's intention about citing this number. What do they say? Whose hearts is sickness, and the unbelievers, the kafir, they may say, what did Allah intend by this example? Mithal. Mādhā aradallahu. What did Allah want by this example? That's what it is. So, we can't know the answer to everything, as it said at the very beginning of time. When Allah's placing Adam on this earth, and the angels ask, will you place that which is going to cause bloodshed? cause corruption and bloodshed. Allah says, I know that which you do not know. So there's only a certain amount that we can know. So those who want to know everything, there is a certain characteristic behind the person who wants to know everything and questions everything and challenges everything. Whereas for us, the way we see the Quran, the believers, is that we see enough in there that gives us belief, and the rest of it, we say, as it is said in Surah number 3, verse 7, that, we believe in all of it, we accept all of it. We don't necessarily understand everything, and I don't think everyone is expected to understand everything. But who is it that questions this? This is the point I'm making. So it's the kafir, it's the sick-hearted, it's the astray that challenge Allah. What is Allah's intention about citing this number? So having said that bit, we soon afterwards arrive at what led the criminals into Saqar. So it goes further down. So now we skip about 10 verses. 41. These are the criminals. Yeah. Anil Mujrimin. What led you into Saqar? What led the criminals into Saqar? They will respond. They will respond. We were not of Al-Musalleen. The point of today's session, yeah? It's about Salah in Salah in hellfire, basically. That's what it looks like, right? But what is it? I'm showing that Salah is basically joining, uniting. It's not prayer. So just like the emissaries that Allah sent to Lut alayhi salam, they did not join in eating that calf, the food. It's not that they did not pray. It's always join, unite, enjoin, or unite, or relate, or connect. So same thing here. It's not I will roast him in Saqar, I will join him. So there is a Salah in Saqar. Yeah, but what is Salah? It's join, it's unite, connect. So he will obviously be united in Saqar. He will be connected. He will unite in Saqar, essentially, yes. And why? That's more important. Why? Who is it that ends up in Saqar? This is the more important thing. Is it the one that did not pray the 5 times daily prayer? What led you into Saqar? We were not of the Al-Musalleen. There it is again. Did not feed the poor. This is probably the number one part to Salah. Honestly, I think this is the number one part to Salah. Number one. Let me just quickly go back there. What I started off with my recitation this morning. And I know that it's almost against me to do this, what I'm doing right now. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمُ صَلُّوا. Yeah. So he will be joined or united in Al-Jahim, in the blaze. Why? Did not feed the poor. Did not feed the poor. It's always that. This is almost the number one thing mentioned. Back to here again. And yet everyone's like obsessed with this 5 times traditional Salah, and they want to defend it to their death, and they want to ignore how Allah's spoken of Salah. It's madness. It's crazy. Okay, so what led you into Saqar? We were not of Al-Musalleen. And what's the first thing mentioned? So who are the Musalleen? The Musalleen are clearly those who feed the poor. Okay, so I'll read the rest from here. Not we were from Al-Musalleen, those in union relationship with Allah. And not we were from those who fed the poor. And we were wading mindlessly with the waders. So again, I won't focus on any of this. And we used to deny the day of debt repayment. Yawmuddin. We used to deny the day of judgment, basically. So that's Al-Musalleen. So Al-Musalleen in Al-Mudaththir are therefore the opposite. Those who feed the poor. Those who avoid wading mindlessly with the waders. Those who affirm the day of debt repayment. So there yeah, there is yet again a lack of evidence to support the 5 pillars of Islam, Salat. But let us continue looking just a little more in the back end part of the Quran. So 75:31. So I've already put this as a post on both on the community post and on Patreon about the opposite of Salah is turning away. So I won't focus on that here. The opposite of Salah is turning away. Yeah, the kafir are not those who reject the hadith and the sunnah of the messenger, but actually are those who turn away from the words of Allah, the book of Allah. So I'll refer you to this. Surah number 3, verse 20, 23, 32. I'm just going to quickly bring it up. I did do a video. There is a link here. Obey Allah and the Messenger. So I'm just going to quickly bring that up. Okay. 20. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا. But if they turn away, yeah, tawallo, if they turn away. So if you look here again, I've mentioned فَلَا صَدَّقَ وَلَا صَلَّى وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى. The opposite of salah is tawalla. Just like it is here, tawallo. They turn away. What are they turning away from? 23. Here it is again, tawalla. What are they turning away from? Can you see here? What are they turning away from? Al-Kitab, Kitab Allah. What are they turning away from? Tawallo 32, verse 32. Say, Ati'ullah, war Rasul. Yeah, they love doing that. War Rasul. They love emphasizing wa. How do you obey the Rasul? But you ignore the rest, as I've just shown you. But if they turn away, it's already been established what we're turning away from. Yeah, it's the book of Allah, Kitab Allah. It's always the book of Allah. So anyway, focusing on Salah. Okay, then if you can hear those fireworks in the background. Okay, obey Allah and the Messenger, and those who turn away. So actually that was me before I even knew about the Hendiadis. I still don't know how to say that. Whatever it is, it's a single idea by 2 words. Even though there is the word and, it doesn't mean necessarily 2 different concepts. But back to the opposite of Salah being turning away. This turning away fits as Allah stating that He and His Malā'ika are doing Salat and Salam upon the Nabi. Explain that. What? Allah and His angels are praying upon the Nabi? Allah and His angels are doing the 5 times traditional Salat upon the Nabi? Astaghfirullah. Allah and His angels are what? Doing what? Making union. They're turning towards Him. We've already established the opposite of Salah is turning away. Salah is turning towards, making union. So we as the faithful should also turn towards, make union in peace towards the message that the envoy and emissary of Allah brought forth. And it also fits with Allah telling the Nabi, the envoy, to do Salat upon those who give charitable donations to atone for their sins. It gives them sakina, tranquility, when He turns towards them, a union. All of this again, I will be going into detail on another occasion when I'm healthier and fitter, inshallah. Okay, this union with Allah is kept, rested, more so anyway. This union with Allah is kept by turning towards and being sincerely dutiful to His guidance, just as the opposite of validating, affirming truth is to lie or deny the truth. So as I said, I'll be returning to this in Allah, Malā'ika and Nabi, all making Salat. Very quickly, the Abrahamic, because I'm going through the rest of these back-end surahs. So yep, after 74, going on to 87, we have this. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. There is. Successful is he who, as I've already said, zakah is you coming with, or you deriving, or you coming with, or you deriving spiritual purification. Successful is he who does spiritually purify himself. How? And remembers the name of his Lord and makes union. That's what this is. Makes union with Allah. So Salah is all about dhikr. Salah is all about the name of Allah, the name of our Lord. So anyone that is finding any way to do that, don't prevent them from doing that. Just highlight if there's any shirk or any kufr, because there is no real one way that anyone can truly argue. Maybe there is. Maybe there's an ideal way. Maybe there's a way that was taught. Maybe there is a way that was practiced. Maybe it does resemble the traditional 5 times salat. Allah knows best. So yeah, I think people can benefit from learning from both. Taking what the tradition does as well as what we see in the Quran. And doing what you see as best. The main point is remembering Allah. The main point is connecting to Allah. Okay, so success is defined here once again via salat and zakat in union and in spiritual purification, being purified via spiritual enlightenment. So this is the way of Ibrahim and Musa, because that's how it ends. Just as we saw in the scriptures of Ibrahim and Musa. Suhufi Ibrahima wa Musa. This is Inna hadha lafi suhufil ula. That's what it is. That's what we're seeing here. That this is success. This has always been success, as we saw through Ibrahim and Musa alayhi salam. The one who connects to his Lord, the one who remembers his Lord, the one who makes union with, turns towards his Lord, and spiritually purifies himself. So just as Ibrahim and Musa alayhi salam were found to be doing in the earlier scriptures. So as I mentioned, never prevent salat and sujood. Again, I can't go through everything right now. Never prevent salat and sujood. So if you go to Surah now, 96. Abdan idha salla. Have you seen him who prevents? Ara'ayta alladhi yanha. So don't be like that either. Don't prevent an Abdullah from doing salah. Yeah, so despite what I'm saying here, I would still not prevent anyone doing their salah. Have you seen him who prevents a servant when he does salah? Do you think he is upon guidance? You have to look at everything. You have to always look at everything. Have you seen him who forbids a servant when he makes a union relationship? See, Allah is the judge at the end of the day. You know, there is the verses as well that nothing is wasted. You know, we're all learning, we're all improving, we're all tweaking as we go along. But never prevent someone from doing their salah. However much it might not be your version of salah. So the entire surah, 96, 119, yeah. So again, this is why you continuously get clarity that yes, this 5 times traditional salat does not exist. In this whole surah, 96, these 19 verses, it promotes reading, writing, reflecting upon how we were created. It promotes teaching, it promotes guidance, it promotes taqwa, which is protectiveness, shielding, safeguarding, and to not obey the example of a liar, a denier, kadhaba, to not be like one who turns back from guidance. There is again tawalla, to not be that. Where is it, tawalla? There it is. See, that's the opposite of salah, turning away. So that's the message. Don't be like this liar that turns away from guidance, that turns back. Do not be like the one who prevents someone from making union with their Lord. Have you seen the one who prevents an abd when he does salah? No, do not obey him. Kalla la tuti'hu wasjud waqtarib. No, do not obey him, but do sujood, pay homage and draw near. Yes, sujood is still a physical show of homage. I will go into this in the future, inshallah. But yes, it's not the traditional 5 times salat. So yes, there is sujood, and I have previously defended sujood as a physical show of paying homage to Allah, as opposed to His creation. That's what it is. People do physically show homage to the creation of Allah, and Allah saying, don't do this. Don't physically show your homage to my creation, but show it to me. Now, how you do that and the details regarding that, that will be for another time. So some of this is about to be revised, as I'm now revisualizing everything from a clearer, unindoctrinated, unprogrammed perspective. The 3 holy Islamic masjids, places of sujood, remain to be very questionable at the very least. Links again, all of this in the document. But once again, in trying to find supporting evidence for the 5 pillars of Islam Salat, we fail to. If anyone truly believes this and defends this, there has to be some clear indication in the Quran, not just picking out words, and saying what that means. Someone from the jungle, the wilderness, the forest or desert would see the message of not copying the way of the liar, the denier, or the way of one who turns back from guidance and prevents others from their union with their Lord. To not copy this bad example and instead bring yourself down low to the Most High. This can be taken literally or symbolically, up to each individual. If you can do it, do it. I still do. There is nothing wrong with physically going down to the Most High. There is nothing wrong with that. What hadith are you reading and following that is making you believe that this is a bad thing? To physically show your submission, show your homage to Allah, the Most High. So there is no religious tyrannical compulsion. It is about humbling oneself to the Most High and His words found within His book. The main point here is in searching for answers to whether there is solid evidence to support a traditional 5 pillars of Islam Salat, and the answer is no, except in the case of confirmation bias. Okay, we're getting closer to the end now. 98, Surah 98. 98.5. And they were not commanded except to, so I've said it's Salat and a manifestly evident valuable deen. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of this. This will be in the document. So they were not commanded except to, so I'll just go through these bullet points. They were not commanded except to be a servant of Allah. This is another indication. Look, that you are not commanded except to do these things. It's very simple. There's a lot of detail in the Quran, but the message is still always resoundingly simple. All of these things you need to do, but still Allah reminds everyone, those who believe and do good deeds, they have nothing to fear. It's always doing that. It's giving you more and more information, but it's still always giving it to you on a very simple reminder as well. So have a look at this. And they were not commanded except to be a servant of Allah, not a servant of Iblis. To be sincerely indebted to Allah, not to His emissaries or envoys. To be monotheist, no false associations. To keep up the union relationship with Allah. Receive enlightenment as a result. Receive spiritual purification. Receive zakat as a result. Sadaqah is the charity. Zakat is not charity. But by giving sadaqah, you can also receive zakat. You can also receive spiritual purification. And that is the valuable debt. That is the deen. وَذَلِكَ دِينٌ قَيِّمًا. That is the upright deen or the valuable deen. Simplicity is a divine signature. Guidance from above cannot be complex and confusing. Simple and easy. Keep the relationship sincere monotheist. But once again, in trying to find the supporting evidence for the 5 pillars of Islam Salat, we failed to. We failed to find it in 286 verses in Al-Baqarah, and we failed to find evidence here within 8 verses. Getting closer to the end now. Salat for show-off hypocrites and their deen. And we're going to finish on the next one. So Salat for the show-off hypocrites and their deen. Again, I'll leave this for the document. I'm already getting exhausted, and maybe you are as well. So I'm just going to give you, the bullet points. You can have a look at this surah or the document when it's ready. But the main thing is, when you look at this entire surah, what is it, 7 verses, a lot about Salah actually. A lot about Salah in this surah. Actually, let me go through this. Have you seen the one who denies the debt repayment? أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the one who denies the deen? That is the one who calls the orphan. I'm not sure exactly how this goes, but it says here, it is he who pushes away the orphan. And he does not urge feeding the poor. There it is again. Can you see? This is probably the number one thing about the Musalleen. Urging feeding the poor. Where is the 5 times traditional Salat? It's this. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَىٰ طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. So woe to al-Musalleen, those who do Salat. So woe. Why would Allah say woe to al-Musalleen? People would say anyone that does Salat, that's brilliant. But why would Allah say woe to al-Musalleen? You'd think that that is a good thing, because there are those who do their union with Allah, or have a union with Allah, but they are neglectful of it. They do have a connection, they do have a union. Those who are neglectful of their Salat, Salatihim, they're neglectful of it. الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. There's actually more to this. Once I finish this, there's more evidence to the Salat of the show-off hypocrites, the munafiq. It's very important. So Salat is private actually. We're told not to not to be loud, public about it, nor to be fearfully quiet about it. And those who do it for show. So our Salat really shouldn't, there should be an effort for it to not be shown, our union, our connection with Allah. Those who show off, the hypocrites basically, الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. So that's who Allah is saying. Those who have a Salat, but they show off about it. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. And prevent the small aid, assistance, prevent, withhold, basically any small kindnesses, as it says here. Refuse small kindnesses. Those who put on their appearance, they are heedless. So woe to those who make a union, relationship. How can there be woe to those who do Salat? As I just mentioned everything. Those who are neglectful of their union with Allah, which has so far been abundantly demonstrated to be a list, a code of conduct, duties, obligations. So this makes perfect sense. Those who are neglectful of their union duties, those who are neglectful of their union with Allah by neglecting their duties, those who put on appearance, show off, related to hypocrites. Yura'un. I'm going to quickly bring this up. So in case you think that, this is the show off hypocrites. Yura'un. How do I say that? Have a look at this. You can just imagine the unseen efforts behind, preventing me from showing this. But here, Yura'un. Who is it? Munafiqeen. So I'll go into this in detail another time. But again, Yura'un. This is the Munafiq. Yeah. they do salat. The munafiq do as-salat, as you can see here. They do come to the union for show. So I won't go into any more detail on that. So therefore the opposite is how Allah defines the faithful believing Musalleen. So we've been given a clear example right towards the end. What is the bad salat? What is the bad version of salat? So we flipped that. So what is the good Musalleen? Those who treat the orphans well, those who urge the feeding of the poor, those who are dutiful in their union, not neglectful, turning to Allah, those who are sincere, not for show, those who are sincere and discreet in their union, turning to Allah, those who grab every opportunity for even the smallest aid assistance. Again, I'm doing this for my benefit. I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I'm far from it. So I'm doing this for myself, but I'm trying to do it in a way that benefits you guys at the same time. So, but let us continue for looking just a little more in the back end of the Quran. We now have 2 surahs mentioned above, showcasing how sincere salat and deen in humanitarian aid. That's what it is. Sincere salat and deen is in humanitarian aid. That is the conclusion. Salat being the union with Allah, deen being the debt. So either you have I'm going to try to make this bigger. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but that was Halloween, trick or treat. I didn't even notice it's the end of October. Anyway, so salat and deen in humanitarian aid. This is what it is essentially. You have the salat of the kafir, the hypocrites. You have the salat of the believers. You have the sincere salat of the believers. You have let me just read what it says here. Either a sincere union with Allah, indebted to Him in truth, or a hypocritical union with Allah, indebted to false ideology. So Surah 107, Surah Al-Ma'un. This is almost the end of the Quran. Heavily on Salah. Al-Ma'un, the aid, clearly shows a believing reader of the Quran the assistance to humanity appears the largest part of our sincere salat, of our turning towards Allah. The most emphasized part of our union being that of our duty to the needy, the orphans and the poor. This is probably the most mentioned thing regarding salah. And the beggar and the deprived. These are the references if you want to see how this is repeated. It's not just in I've gone through these. You should have got this by now, that this is the most important thing: the feeding of the poor, taking care of the orphans, not turning away the beggar or the deprived. So with this aid to humanity in mind, trying to keep this as big as possible. With this aid to humanity in mind and the neglectful salah of the showing off hypocrites in mind, we can now understand why salat appears to be something that is a sincere believer, something that a sincere believer keeps discreet and fairly private. That's why this verse here, 17, I was trying to understand this, but because I was stuck on the ruku and the sujood, upon the chins and all of that, I wasn't sure and I felt like I had to stop. But I get it. I get it now. So again, I won't be going through everything, but this is what is being said here. Bisolatika. 17:110. ولا تجهر بصلاتك ولا تخافت بها وابتغي بين ذلك سبيلا. So, and do not publicize, speak out loud with your salat, your union with Allah. Do not publicize, do not speak out loud, and do not be fearful, low, murmuring with it, and appropriately want a way in between. However you keep your union with Allah, your salat, whatever that looks like, do not be public. Do not show off. Do not speak out loud with it. Nor be fearful, low, murmuring with it. And appropriately want a way in between. These ways. Ummatan wasatan. Everything's about the middle way. In the Quran, it's about the middle way. It's not the right or the left. It's not the red or the blue. It's not the extremes, this way or that way. Everything is actually taking account of everything. In a world today where everything is polarized, it is all about the middle path. None of the extremes. So therefore salat is private, not for publicity, not for show your own. It's not for people to see. Again, this should, okay, maybe so I'm approaching the bit where I've just been editing. Okay, we've now almost completed looking at 286 verses in Al-Baqarah, as well as all of the short surahs at the end of the Quran. There is yet again a lack of evidence to support the 5 pillars of Islam, Salat. Okay, so I'm finishing off here now. Let us look at the final mention of Salat at the end of the Quran. The Salat of sacrifice. This is how I began this whole document. Once I looked at enough, I knew I got it. It's clear. Allah's giving us the answer at the end of the Quran and at the beginning. But you can use the end of the Quran to clearly understand the beginning, and vice versa. So, Surah Al-Kawthar. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Indeed, we have granted you the abundance, a lot. So, solely unite to your Lord and honor, sacrifice. This is what it is. It's the Salat of sacrifice. This is the true Salat. Indeed, inna sha'naka huwal abtar. Indeed, the one that hates you, he is the one that's cut off. And he's probably trying to convince us the other way, that we are the ones cut off. That would make sense. And we know who that is. So make union to your Lord and honor, sacrifice yourself or your possessions or both, whichever. Just understand that it's all about sacrifice, making union to your Lord and sacrifice. Look, Allah's given us a lot. Do not worry about losing anything. Again, I'm not preaching to anyone. This is for myself. So any evidence to support the 5 pillars of Islam, Salat? Any evidence in 286 verses? Any evidence in 3 verses? So I do feel your pain of loss and emptiness. I do feel it. I said this earlier today or yesterday. You can't just rip out someone's heart and leave them without a replacement. But for me, it's become clear there is no actual method to Salat in the Quran, as in there isn't that this is how you do it. There isn't any of this. So let us go through some more of the Quran and be reassured about what Salat cannot be. And then eventually I will go through what Salat clearly is. So I'm going to stop here. Okay, as I wrap up, one final reminder. If all of this is over your head, it's going over your head and it's too much, this is the main thing you want to remember. If there's one takeaway at the end of this, it's this bit here. فَلَا صَدَّقَ وَلَا صَلَّى وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى. It's clear. The opposite of being sadiq is doing kadhaba. The opposite of doing saddaqa is doing kadhaba. The opposite of being valid, affirming the truth, is denying the truth, lying. That's the opposite here. Saddaqa, kadhaba. Just as the opposite of salla is tawalla, turning away. So Salah is turning towards Allah, making union with Allah. And that can come in several ways. Do not prevent someone from doing their version of Salat and Sujood. You do what it is that you think you see in the Quran, but do not prevent someone from doing Salat or Sujood, or even discouraging them, or even confusing them. I would say this is my attempt to illuminate, to illustrate what it is that Allah said in the Quran. So people don't need to necessarily stop what it is that they're doing. They need to alter it. They need to add to it. They need to maybe slowly transform it. That's probably the better way. So that's my last message. If everything's confusing, hold on to this. If you ever want to know clearly what Salah is, I will be doing more in the future. I'll put more of this kind of thing in the future as well. Yeah, and just lastly, so this is still a work in progress. So just lastly, yep, as it says in the clip that I've used, judge the work and leave judgment concerning those who wrought it to the judge who sees all things. That is called humility, and it is difficult for most, but it is the truest form of sight. So that's what we have today. People are easily judging the person who's giving very difficult truths to accept. They're being attacked. So yeah, judge the work, not the person doing the work. And yep, I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. Thank you. And forgive me, I was wrong. I'm still learning. But this is how it is, the way the Quran explains the truth and the falsehood. Rather, we throw the truth upon falsehood. So it intellectually destroys it. So then it is exhausting. That's how it goes. The truth. Al-haqqu wa zahaqal batil. It exhausts it. It intellectually destroys. Yadmaghuhu. That's how it is. You have to use your intellect. You have to use your intellect. It's intellectual thinking that destroys the falsehood. And for you, the woe for what you describe. Faced with what is right. Faced with what is right. To leave it undone shows a lack of courage. Confucius. Lots of wisdom everywhere. Lots of truth everywhere. Do you not wish to live in beauty?
I wish I could know your peace.
You can. We do not yet fully understand these rings, but look at the power they exert over every form of life. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond reckoning, dominating the minds and wills of all. This is why they must remain in the hands of elves. You are wise to fear this power, Elrond. But do not let that fear blind you to the ways it can be used for good. For it is not your enemy that bears these rings, but your most trusted friend. If you believe they have strayed, do not abandon them, but rather open your eyes and guide them before the darkness spreads across Middle-earth and blinds us all.